Ah, yes. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. No, that's fake news. The best part of waking up is crunching granola on your live stream. Oh. How do you vet somebody? Women, men. How do you vet somebody? I'm not talking Corvette. I'm talking about other things you can look for before you date somebody. Hey, Gail. Hey, Colette. Shame? What shame? What did I do, Colette? What's the shame for? I didn't shameful do anything. How is Gail? I mean, don't you wish there was a digital readout? This person you have an interest in will do these following things to you. Do not date. Do not proceed. But we don't. Hi, Tans. What a pleasure seeing you in here, too. That's good, Gail. So, how do you vet somebody? How do you know what they're all about before you get all involved in a mess? Anybody know who this guy is? You put shame when you came in the room, Colette. Scroll back. You put shame and a face and a hand. Anybody know who that is? How would you like to go on a date with that guy? Most people thought he looked all American. He's in the military. Anybody know that guy? You should. What's time? Well, Tans, that's awesome. Colette, what is the one-word messages? You're being cryptic. What are you trying to say? Complete sentences, please. I said hiya. Yeah, but it said shame. I was confused. Can you look at a face? Can you look at eyes and be able to tell more from that than the BS that somebody gives you? Thank you, Frosty. I appreciate that. Yeah, hi, Colette. I greeted you. But you said shame, you said time. I'm confused. Anyways, moving along. That's Timothy McVeigh. No remorse. Got fertilizer, put it in a moving truck, parked in front of the Alfred Murrah Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma City, and blew it up. Yeah, that's right, Tans. Hello, Linda. How are you? That's right, Frosty. Hello, K-Jeff. Hello, Riggy. Tim McVeigh, he had no conscience. He had something against the government and took it out on innocent people going to work on a business day. all races, a child care center in the government building, and every time people have something to protest, they always take it out on people that had nothing to do with their issue. Hey, playoffs? Yeah, we got a lot of that where I work. Guy just working with me. I asked him politely if he had autism. He goes, no, why? I said, I just wondered. He'll go and do weird things and in his own little world. He stood in the middle of the warehouse one day and said, the world's coming to an end. I looked at him and said, you all right over there? Hey, Michael. You came past him streaming on YouTube playoffs. Wow. So how does that work? I don't do drugs. I tell people stay away from it. But let's talk about this vetting. How about this guy? Anybody know who that is? He actually dated women. Women wanted to date him. Anybody know who that is? Oh, time. Got you, Colette. My bad. Okay, context. I'd lost it. Thank you. Colette, I'm sorry. Sometimes I talk and then I see comments. I'm like, huh? Playoffs, you want to get kicked out of the room? That's not my uncle. Jeffrey Dahmer. Hi, Thomas. There's been quite a few people that told me I looked like him. Clearly, I do not. No comparison. Not the forehead, nothing. Not the eyebrows, not the facial construct. Yes. Playoffs. I think you're somebody's kid that needs to go to bed or get on the school bus. You don't belong in here, dude. This is not for children. Oh, you beat me, Colette. You beat me. Thank you, Ricky. But how about this guy? How about this guy? A lot of people thought he was suave back in the day. Look at that face, huh? He has an ocean of evil stuff in his brain, or did. I'm sorry, but when I see people that look like that, even before I knew who he was, I have a question mark. He's got that face that's a poker face. Yes, Blondie. And good morning. Hey, Miss Jane. How are you? Well, you know what? And no arrests were made. No arrests were made with all that were involved. Hey, Don, yeah, this guy's creepy, man. Creepy. How about this one? Some of you might forget who that was. He was truly the definition of a recluse, a spook. I'm all right, Miss Jane. Good to see you in the chat. Ted, Michael knew right away. Good job. Yeah, Mr. Let's talk about trolls and cowards. Sending packages to people that didn't even know him. They open it up and they're blown up. That's what trolls are. I like that several men stood up in my chat and said, you know what? It's time for me to put my picture on my YouTube profile. Because Mike's right. You're going to leave comments and be faceless. Own your words. Own your words. Now, that's not Manson. That's Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. He was holing up in a little tough shed in Montana. Everybody knows who this is. Nobody saw it when he was on the football team. That's also the face of evil. A violent man who viciously attacked a woman. Have I been grumpy at work? Yeah, there's been times I don't take it out on people. Yesterday I was kind of there. And part of that was kicked off by the clown in receiving. They fired the guy that was working with him because he has a problem with drugs. Failed another random. And the thing about this guy, he'll be kiss up to all management, but the freight clerk and me say good morning. No response. Freight clerk says, did he even hear him? I said, I don't know. I said, Joe, you all right? No. What's wrong? I got too much work to do. He's a martyr. He's a martyr. He's a complete martyr. If the glove fits. Oh, Ronald Goldman? People say it was impossible for OJ to kill them both. Do you know how big that man was? Do you know he hid down a narrow walkway, which had privacy and vines and, a tall, yeah, he could overpower too. You got a strong man like that with a knife. They were taken by surprise. He went into a rage. Then he coolly got on a plane and went to Chicago. Absolutely European. Chance, don't wish that. How about this one? This is a current case right now. Don't know his name, don't want to know it. He dated one of my regulars, literally just recently. He's on $500,000 bond for rape, aggravated assault. This woman sent me voice clips of the messages he left. Yeah, I raped you. I shoved my thing in your blah, 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 blah. I won't even repeat it. But he basically did backdoor entry on her and tore her up. And he said when he gets out, he will not even bring a gun. He will slash her up with a knife. My question to her is, what the hell did you see in this? You can tell by looking at him, he's trouble. She wanted to send me. I said, I don't want to listen to him. I said, he's evil. I don't like the clip you sent me. I said, you need to move away. You need to move away. You need to move because he said it, when he gets out, he will kill her. Next question. Why do women she's a beautiful woman. Why do beautiful women pick that? And you see it in Augusta, you see it all across the USA. Good-looking women pick bad men. Yes, Tans. Hello, Andra, how are you? Hello, Medina. Why do women pick bad men? No offense, I'm making a judgment. I look at that guy, I wouldn't even want to work with him. One thing I'm amazed at in Augusta here is the hustling, the BSing. Almost all the men out here are classic for that. And it's like, wow. Like used car salesmen. But Zach, you came out of it. Medina, thanks for the honest answer. I don't fault you. Thank you for the honesty. Got you, Miss Jane. Good answer. But hold it, Colette. I've showed an interest in some pretty women and they've laughed at me. You got thick glasses and you only make this much and you do. No. And then they'll choose that. And those women will tell me years later, I was this with this guy. And I said, well, you had good guys come after you and you snubbed them all. What do you want me to say? Now, it's women who are doing that. I say, well, you know what? You play stupid games. I'll bet you did, European. I bet you were able to look at somebody and know. You know, I drove a school bus. First day of school on new routes every year. You could tell. You got to a point where that one got to keep an eye on. You know it. Guys or girls, you could just tell. I can tell by looking at a woman if she's narcissistic before she opens her mouth. It's in the face. I can tell she's immature by the facial. People won't believe me, but I can see it. Hold on, the chat's going so fast I can't keep up with y'all. Yeah, as a bouncer, you see all kinds of things. This woman said I wanted to help him. Let me back up. Women I've known for years. Mike, I wanted to fix him. I'm going to tell every woman listening to me, do not date a charity case. Do not date a charity case. Ever. And sometimes we have to make a mistake in order to learn. I bought the t-shirt. Now, I never dated knowingly dangerous, bad women, but I dated women that were Christian married a couple, and boy, did that turn out to be a problem. Now, they weren't killers, but they had some big problems. One of them was complete denial. I'll admit when I do wrong. I'll admit to any woman, I'm sorry, I was short with you today. I'm sorry. I've been with a lot of women that cannot, will not, Sam, I am, ever issue an apology. And I've used an expression. Some women do not have a backup gear. They do not have a reverse option in their vehicle. I have a reverse option. I use it all the damn time. Sometimes when you're going in a direction and you hit an impasse, I'll slam that thing in reverse, do axle lock, wheel lock, shift that transfer case, and I'll back the heck out of there right now. We all need that. We all need that. This is good subject matter. I'm glad you guys are participating. This is the meat of real life 101. I've done it. You look at that woman that's got those fawn eyes and she smiles at you and seems so sweet. You have no idea what's going on inside the locker of her heart. And that goes for men. Maternal instincts morph into rescue syndrome. You can't love anyone better. Wow, you just revealed something to me, Tans, I never thought of. Women, it is not your job to fix a man. We're not perfect, but you need to select a man. 3 basic things: hygiene, employed, and overall decent person. Overall, I see so many women dating couch potatoes. Thus, the advent of the song Scrubs. Cheryl, I think, is visiting up in, Indiana, reunion. She hasn't been here, but she posted the words one day to Scrubs, hanging on the passenger side. You see that here. Or you see guys buying a pimped out Crown Vic. They don't have a house. They won't keep a job, but they'll go through the neighborhoods with their arm on the window, playing their garbage noise, their tribalism. And immature women go, wow, hold on, honey. He ain't going to get you a house. He's going to love you and leave you. Don't be fooled. As he cruises through your neighborhood, he'll cruise right through and out the other side of your heart. Just watch that thing keep on rolling and keep it that way. I think, and I'm going to say it right here, I think black women, out of all the races, are the most violated by their own ethnicity than anybody else in America. More than Mexicans, more than whites, more than Asians. I see it. I see so many single, attractive black women with 3-4 kids in tow. No dad. No dad. Bread crumbling. You see the red flags, but the dropping just enough tiny bits are good to keep you believing you can. Yeah, Tans. Oh, Ricky. And thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, that is a phenomenon. Isn't there a show in Britain about that, Tans? People in Europe dating American prisoners, and when they get out, how are you going to get a visa and bring a prisoner? If you get a felony, you cannot have a passport, I believe. Good-looking woman with money falling in love with a guy who's going to get released for murder. That's crazy. That's not even rational. And those same women will look at me and go, no, that's okay. That's okay, because if you're going to date a prisoner, you would not be a good wife material for me at all. I mean, something's wrong with your brain. I wish I could play the sound clip that she sent me of this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but he lives in Ohio. I'm going to put him on blast. He's threatened to kill this woman if he gets out. Judge, you better throw away the key on this clown. These judges that are releasing and re-releasing people like this are part of the problem in America. Shannon, is that any of your business? Does that have anything to do with you and your day today? Nothing. Looks like a guy's shirt to me. I know my sweatpants are men's. My underwear is men's. I'll bet you my work ethic's bigger than yours. I bet you that I can do a lot of things better than you. Why are you worried about my clothes? I'm assuming you're a guy analyzing a guy. That's strange. Yes, Tans, they have been killed. You know, people tell me you cannot judge a book by its cover. I partially agree with that. I got you, Chance, but I needed to confront it. I can tell by looking at him that I would not trust him. What would be the dead giveaway? The overall affect, pattern recognition. We got something here called the Augusta Jail Report. You can buy it at the Circle K, and the locals buy it. They want to see if anybody they know got into jail and got in the system. And it doesn't just cover Augusta, across the river into South Carolina. And it's like, how many people look just like that? White guys. And they all have that dead eyes. Black guys. Black women. Forged checks. Oh, you ought to see all the stuff. Check forgery. Robbery. I heard that at transportation, people that a lady I bought eggs from got fired for not passing a random. And a driver that she was dating, and they were both involved in this, was groping her on her bus at the lot. Well, the cameras hadn't turned off yet. Somebody went to pull their video and saw that. He was fired. What are you thinking, people? There's cameras on the school bus. Why you got your hand down her pants or shirt or whatever you were doing? Go get in your car and go get a hotel. I don't want to go to Atlanta. I heard that a lot of the men are gay out there. I have no desire. Atlanta is a nothing burger city. It's a traffic jam. It has absolutely no appeal. That's right, Arlene. As I get older, I look at countenance, I look at the eyes. Clearly, he took advantage of her kindness. Can I say something, ladies? The UK is experiencing this as well, and France. Some Caucasian women think it's vogue to date other races, and I have dated other races. I do not have a hang up, but I want to say something as accurately as I can. When you date outside your culture, I have been attracted to other cultures. But I was reminded of something. by this friend of mine telling me what she's been through with this guy. I live in a city where there's a lot of rape. I live in a city where I'm a guy and I'm pretty free expression, free spirit. And I just felt last night, I'm in my yard with not this, but the black one on, doing yard work, and grown men are slowing down and honking, and I'm not comfortable with that. You could be raped by one of these big boys here because they think you're cute. I can't imagine being a woman being raped. I don't want to go through that. Most of the men here would overpower me like nothing. Better limit your clothing to inside your home, not out there. Can't trust people. And then let me ask something. Why is it that men feel comfortable raping people? Why? And people say it's about domination. How does that give somebody arousal? Scaring somebody, taking abusive control of them. How does that? What turns me on is when a pretty woman wants me. I don't want to dominate them. I don't want to scare them. But why, Tans? Why? How is there a connection between putting terror in somebody and getting an arousal or an orgasm from it? How? That's twisted. She was a woman that I dated casually off, a black woman. She had told me how cheap property was here, and I wanted a house. I don't know why Blondie YouTube does a lot of weird things. I didn't even know they were doing that. That's one of my regulars. Had dated this guy, tried to help him, and he raped her, assaulted her, and he's on $500,000 bail in Ohio. And I wonder why I don't hear from somebody, and that's why she was involved with this guy. Didn't even know. And I did tell her, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to use this picture, and I'm in no way denigrating you at all. I'm underscoring that women should not have to be treated like this at all, ever. Throw away the key. I think America needs to enter a different arena in 2026. You get charged for rape and assault, death penalty. I think it's time. I'm not talking false accusations. I'm talking, you did this, you're done. People raping are not rehabilitable. That's my belief. Now, Jesus Christ can save. But it seems to me I've never met a man to date who told me, yeah, I used to rape women and I got saved. I've never met a man who was a rapist who got redeemed. Is anybody with me on that? I think you rape somebody, you rape a man or woman, and you get charged with that, and there's undeniable proof. Bye. You'll have a right to live. I've heard of Rupert. Who is Rupert Lowe? Who is he? I've heard the name drop, but who is that? Now I'm going to say something that's going to shock everybody, but hear me out. pedophilia that is not consensual. Now, what I mean by that, you got a grown man, you got a teenager dressing provocatively, egging on a grown man. I know a story of a woman who used to be a friend of my wife when I was married. He worked in a church. Don't remember what he did. 2 teen girls were egging him on, provocative, pulled their shirts down, wanted him to feel them. Then they turned on him. He served time. And his wife did not leave him. And I said, why did you stay with him? She said, my husband and I had a very good relationship and he always treated me right. And I know the girls, I know the families, and even the families agreed that they had egged this on. And I forgave my husband. I don't think a guy like that should be put to death. But pedophilia against the will of a minor, death sentence. If a woman is leading this on and provoking it, yeah, he should be in trouble, but there needs to be consequences for the minor who's doing that as well. Now, you can't put a 14-year-old girl in jail. Well, you can, depending on what she does. But we need to say this. There are women. South Carolina and North Carolina are known states of underage girls going after grown, older, established men. Colette, did somebody say something? Did I say something that offended you? I certainly wasn't trying. Hello, Summer. How are you? I missed something somewhere. Well, triggers. Colette, I wanted to talk about this, and I'm certainly in no way trying to offend you. I drove a school bus for years. Not here, but I've had many times where young ladies clearly had eyes and were making obvious come-ons. I did not entertain or make an avenue for that. Hey, Sam. Thank you. It's not a jacket. It's kind of like this, I don't know what you call this. Yes, Tans. And Colette, I hope you're, I don't know if you left, but being known to everybody, I don't support this fool behind me. Ladies, be careful who you date. Never date a charity case. I know a woman. She was very judgmental. She was a black woman when I used to go down the Soul Bar. Pretty. She'd been thrown down the stairs by her black boyfriend, husband in New York. She finally moved down here, became friends with the couple I was friends with. They didn't like the way I dressed and rode that issue and had a problem. I didn't even wear the stuff I was wearing on YouTube. They had a real problem with me having long hair. Southerners really get triggered about that. Christians. In fact, the woman that was flirting with me Sunday after church told me I will not date a man with long hair. Would I have never grown my hair out if we just started dating? I'll grow my hair out if I want to. I notice a lot of people, let's go back to something. A lot of the people that are a danger to society don't have long hair. McVeigh, this guy, Dahmer, and this guy dressed for success. Kept his hair neat and trim. He wore nothing but nice clothes. And people are too stupid to realize when they troll me, that's the danger, not me. Now, let's be fair. The Bible says the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So watch this. You, me, can't even know the depth of depravity that dwells within. We talk about pushing buttons. Did you know, and I'm admitting this, somebody could push my buttons so bad that I could do something I regret. They could do it to you too. Say, oh, I'd never murder somebody. You haven't been in a situation. What if somebody was abusing you and pushing and you finally have had enough? Don't ever say, I wouldn't. Say, God, protect me with your grace and your power that I don't do something I regret. I've been paying attention on YouTube. State troopers and law enforcement are talking about a growing, out of control problem with road rage. People getting so angry, chasing somebody down. Somebody's life is ended. And I heard a trooper say, you've got to get control of your emotions. It's amazing how a tiny offense can cause us to hit the flashpoint. I say, get out of it. Get out of it. Drive defensively. Pick your battles. Hello, Black Pine. How are you? But Jeffrey Epstein dressed for success. This guy, you can tell by looking at him. Those eyes and that face, you can tell this guy is wickedness. You remember the commercial for Motel 6? Remember what they say? We'll even leave the light on for you. Can I tell you something? That's not Motel 6, ladies. You see the light on in that? I don't. Hey, Black Pine, I'm glad you showed up. He certainly looks trustworthy. Yeah, it looks like he would be good for a British tea with the Queen. Look at those eyes. I'm sorry, you can tell by the face, the mouth. The light is not on. Thank you, Sam. But do you see it here? Can you tell by looking at that face? He's got that Hollywood media face, that big oval chin that women just seem to adore. I can see it now because I'm older and I have more discernment. My point is, study the eyes. Monster is right, Lisa. And hello. Look, even Lisa knew who Epstein is. Talk about getting fame or fortune. But what about this? He looked like a teddy bear back in the day. In fact, when they first talked about the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, I'm like, OJ, he's a teddy bear. Until I saw the Bronco chase, which wasn't a chase. That was a dog and pony show. And then I heard the 911 calls from Nicole. Now, Nicole was a bit dumb. She kept staying and kept staying. Women, if you are abused, the minute that man leaves the house, you get in your car, you leave, you call your mom, you call somebody, you get out of town, you do not go back. Do not go back. Do not go back. Leave. Yes, Chance, and somebody quoted that earlier. Good morning. Well, Peachy, thanks for saying hi. I want women and men to have a voice here, especially about issues like this. You know, we men joke about dating a psychopath. These men that I've mentioned, there's a difference between sociopath and psychopath. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe you ladies can tell me. But we have a wrong belief. OJ was popular in football. He was the juice. He had commercials. Look at Tiger Woods. Driving under the influence, flipped the vehicle. Again, this is Masters Week where I live. He missed out on the Masters. Again, this is the second time he's missed out on playing through. He played through in a jail cell. What's going on with Tiger? What's the problem? And we have this false belief that because somebody's a celeb, surely they got it together. Can I remind everybody of what Scripture says about broad is the road that leads to destruction? And that road has billboards, and it's got carnival lights, and it's got smiling faces. Come on, man. We've been primed. We should be smarter than this. You remember the old cigarette ads when they were allowed? You've come a long way, baby. Who do they show on the cigarette ad? A face that looks like a road atlas? Or the beautiful, hot, swanky lady? All the beer ads, they ever show the real drinkers with the big old beer gut and cellulite stretch marks, and the smokers, boy, he must be a newcomer in here, and all the men are lusting after her, and the stuff sagging all the way down. She got a Harley bike. Oh, yeah. What they ought to do is the commercials ought to show the reality. You want to see what a bar scene looks like after 30 years? Check this out. But they show these hot, fit, black and white women that look so hot. And it's all a lie. It's sea monkeys, man. Look. Sea monkeys has never left us. Never, 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 never left us. It goes on all the time. They did it with drugs. They did it with alcohol. Oh, there's nothing wrong with marijuana, man. It's an herb, man. Sea monkeys. Not drinking. There's nothing wrong with getting drunk, Mike. You got to loosen up. It's just sea monkeys. Mike, smoking and vaping. Yeah, sea monkeys. Let's see the real advertisement. How about this lie? Mike, I believe in science. I don't believe in God. You know, that's archaic. It's 2026. Come on. Sea monkeys. How come we never connected that? I remember the cigarette ads. I remember when you got out of school, you walked by the bowling alley and all the kids knew. You go in the front lobby because there's two doors. There's the outside door and there's the little entry room. Had all the cigarette vending machines. You had to go through another door with no window in it to get into the bowling alley. Kids went in there all the time, put the money in, pulled, and got a pack of Marlboros. Now, come on, man. Somebody finally woke up and said, hey, you know, the kids are getting the cigarettes. Duh. Stupid. Stupid. That'd be like putting Playboys in a dispensing machine. Kids would have loved that. Oh, I don't have to go to the guy behind the counter. Yeah. I'm still mourning the loss of my kingdom. And Lisa, I'm not attacking you. I'm against substance use. That's me. But I don't hate you and I don't want to drive you out. You know, some people say opinions are like butts. Everybody has one and most of them stink. But I'm a non-drug person. Oh, I've been around gaslighters. They're what I call the comeback queens. There's the kings and queens. There's nothing I can say that'll cap them. And when I see that, I just look at them and say, you got issues, man. And walk. Bible, there's 2 verses. It says, one says, answer a fool according to his folly. And another one says, do not answer a fool according to his folly. You have to have discernment. Chance, don't open that up. Wearing a piece of fabric is different than ingesting substances. The Bible tells us, be not drunk with wine, which should also mean do not be under the control of a drug. Be under the, but be filled with the Spirit. And I know there's arguments that go both ways about my dressing and all that. And Chance, I accept you as a human being. I'll never agree with drug usage. I do not agree with them legalizing marijuana. I never will. It's a drug. It's, people say it's an herb. It's a drug. And I've said it, and I'll say it again. We as people are harder on the sins we don't commit and less stringent on the ones we do. I'm guilty. But that doesn't mean we can't throw this volleyball in the air and bat it around a couple times in the chat. I want to stimulate conversation. The only people I want to drive out of chat are rude, nasty people that don't belong here. Just because people don't agree with me on everything, I'm not one of those. Well, you're not part of my club. That's not the way I view things. All of us have to tabernacle alone with God and grab the horns of the altar and ask God, what does he want me to do regarding this or that issue? That we need to do. Let's throw this one out. People in America have a major problem with age gap dating. Age gap dating, like say, I'm 60, say a 20-year-old woman had the hots for me and wanted to go out with me. You know how many women right here would say, oh my gosh, Mike, you're robbing the cradle. What if she had the maturity level I did? What if it just worked? Now, not that that's on the fire. It isn't. That's not some pot simmering in the back. Chance of a 20-year-old and me falling in love are about that big. The maturity level, the experience level in 2026, a 20-year-old in 2026 is not the same as a 20-year-old in 1970. A 20-year-old American woman is not the same as a 20-year-old American in a village in the Philippines. A lot of factors you got to put into play. I could go to Thailand, date a young woman, hand washing, laundry, cooking, domesticated, mature. She didn't grow up in the materialism where she's sitting here going all day. Date a 20-year-old here, you're asking for problems. Asking for problems. But I believe age is between the party involved, nobody else. There is nowhere in the Bible that gives age ramifications. I am not talking about underage. Don't read anything into that. It is against the law to have physical relations with a minor in Georgia. And a black man that I worked with as a foreman of transportation told me this. He was security at the schools here. In other words, he was a school cop. Not a security guard. Gun, tasers, all that. He said in Georgia, there is no prohibition about a man of any age and a 16-year-old getting married or having physical relations if it is consensual. I said, said, look it up. Now, in other states, 16 is consensual, but there's age brackets. If a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old consensual, no problem. You start hitting 30, 40, 50, 60, now you got a problem. Georgia doesn't have any of those. Yeah, Lisa, and that is a case by case. I could not date a 16-year-old. Let's be honest, folks. Women that are young and beautiful, the young and the restless, men are attracted to that. I'm very cerebral, I'm very intense, and I live in my head. I'm like, that would never work for me. Maturation, wisdom is not going to be there. And a 16-year-old will not. Hello, Molly. Tans, did you sleep okay last night? Tans, am I allowed to ask, what is the age difference? 10 years, 5 years? Some plateau at 16. Cover up. There are YouTube channels. Women, don't get mad at me. This is being said by, yes, experts. There's a psychologist on YouTube, top of the field. I forgot his name. Said most women in Western developing nations tap out at a 15, 16-year-old mindset. And you see that. You see the games and the undercurrents and the immaturity. Women at 40, 50 years old. The sarcasm, the snarkiness. Why are so many women so immature? Now, I know men got problems. I'm talking about them. I'm not beating up on the women. This is an equal opportunity channel. We talk about all the BS. And I've seen it. I drove a school bus. I know what teens look like. I know what they look like as adults. There's no difference between today's teens and most of the women today. That woman I talked to on Sunday bragged about herself, blew her trumpet. That's what teen girls do. Then she had wrong beliefs, and if you dare to try to tell her that's incorrect, you're going to get a teenage mentality. Run. But you got boys that never grew up. I know that. Hey, Thomas. Hey, Doc. But look, can we go further? Michael Jackson slept in the same bed with a 12-year-old Collie McCocken. Why was he not charged with pedophilia? Why is it? I mean, I would never have a boy in my bed, ever, under any circumstances. I don't care if this is the only bed in the building. One of us gets the bed and somebody gets the couch, the floor, whatever. But no, I'm not sleeping with a dude. SR, no bueno. What are you doing in bed with a 12-year-old? What are you doing in bed with a 12-year-old? I don't have to have sex. If a 12-year-old girl in Augusta is in my bed and somebody can prove it, I'm done. Doesn't have to be sex. That's considered statutory rape. What is he doing? Doc Watson, we went through that in Prohibition, and you know what happened there. The mafia started, and the Kennedys became very rich on bootlegging. Thank you, Chance. They can say all day long that nothing happened. How about this one? In Australia, a couple of years ago, houses were close together in the neighborhood, and a guy looked out his window and could see into the window of another house, and the mother and the daughter were naked and on top of each other. He called the police. They went to court. The teen girl stood up and said, "But I like it. I wanted it." Now what do you do? How do you deal with that? Talk about familial love. Woo! Really? How about years ago, a 20-year-old woman was caught messing around with a 14-year-old because when she was in school, they liked each other. She was not put away. She was not charged. But let a 20-year-old man be with a 14-year-old girl. It's over. It's over. And what can he do? Registered sex offender, jail time, criminal record, non-hireable by everybody. We need to talk about the discrepancy and the dichotomy of who gets charged, who gets in trouble. Did you know Gavin Newsom wanted to legalize men and minors, men, for homosexual relations? You know that, don't you? Have you looked that up? I'm like, what? He's sitting in jail right now. But he has made it clear to one of my channel watchers that when he gets out, I'm not going to use a gun, I'll use a knife. She sent me a voice clip of one of his messages he left. He sounds awful, evil. She goes, "Oh, I'm going to send you the one where he threatened me." I said, "I don't want to hear it." I said, "I don't like violence. I don't like this. I don't." Just hearing that affected me. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. Jaden, bare naked granola. All right, let's get rid of the sea monkeys. It's interfering with everything. But can I remind everybody for the audience this stuff? Most people, anybody that knew this guy before he did what he did in the 90s in Oklahoma City, thought he was an all-American kid supporting the military, clean cut, American boy, flag waving. A little warning to everybody. It's become very obvious now that there's a lot of people that were in the military and they snap and they take it out on society. Remember the guy that did bulldozer raids in San Diego? He was in the military. He went on base, stole a tank, and ran over motorhomes, parked cars, crashed into the front of people's homes, got stuck on the middle freeway barricade. Police got up on top of the dang thing because his tracks wouldn't engage because there was nothing to grab. They opened the top and went boom and took him out. What's the meaning of life today? That's a loaded question. But again, people get on me about my dressing. Jeffrey Epstein never wore women's clothing. He didn't grow his hair long and do a mullet. He didn't have thick glasses. He made it in his millionaire world. People respected him. He dressed for success. Does that tell you what's inside of here? Our society is wrapped up in packaging. Wrapped up. Oh, yes, Chris. I didn't even know they did a video about that. Hey, crafty lady, how are you? Yes, Annette, I look at him. Now, I've had some different stuff. Allow me to share. There was a sales guy that looked a little bit like that. He had a wife. He sold Isuzu trucks. In fact, he didn't sell them. They sold themselves. He was making good money because everybody wanted the NPRs. Aaron Rents, all your DAVs, the NPR truck is everywhere. He also knew Roger Penske. He knew Roger Penske and worked for him. I was riding, we had delivered a truck, and his name was Alan. And one day we're in the car, because I drive a truck, the salesman brings me back, and he puts his hand on my leg. I said, "What are you doing? You don't like that?" I said, "No." And he had that face. He wore the suit and tie. And no, I didn't dress the way I dress. I was dressed in jeans and a t-shirt. I was the lot guy. I'm going to tell you something, ladies. There's a lot of men that look like professionals that got gay designs on guys like me. I'm not going to get into all this, but I've, just like women talk about guys coming on to them, I've had guys come on to me that you never, ever would think would. I'm always amazed when you see guys sitting together with a group of guys and they got their hand in between their crotch holding their stuff. I've never done that. Why are guys sitting there with their hands on their nards while discussing? Again, if there's one thing that's been revealed to me, there is a devil, there is God, and people can make a good show. I have seen a side of people that some people have never seen. And I'll go and tell somebody something. Mike, that isn't true. You want to make a bet? I saw this. Mike, we've known this guy. People know how to act. Who's the CIA guy that's still alive? Y'all remember the guy that got a Tesla? Pulled in front of the Trump Hotel or whatever in Vegas? Set it on fire? He was in the military. Was it a Hispanic woman who lived next door to Dahmer? I thought Dahmer had his own house. He was in an apartment. She said it started to stink. He had come on to her. Even offered her some food. He was cooking people. Oh, the Mossad guy. I still want to know what happened to 3 guys that escaped from Alcatraz. They say, oh, they're dead. Why was there nothing in the San Francisco Bay? They didn't find out days later. You know, they would have had boats all out there looking for stuff. I think they got away. I think they went deep into Mexico or South America. What do y'all think about that? I know, Chance. Who lived with Mom? I don't think Jeffrey lived with Mom. I don't think Mama would have gone along with that. Well, that's nice, son. We're having arm and hand soup today. Thank you. That guy, disturbed. Yeah, Peachy, because you could have disappeared down there. Nobody down there would have known who they were. They claim Adolf Hitler never died, that he went down to Venezuela, that he had a daughter. Have you all heard that one? That's right, SR, but the difference is Jesus Christ went to the cross for our sins on his own volition. The Pharisees, that was a kangaroo court. But Jesus knew this is exactly what the Father wanted to happen. You had to have a sacrifice. Hello, Mr. Logo. That's interesting, Noah. Yeah. Oh, really? Now that I didn't know. I thought he had lived in the house, and somebody said he buried the victims under the house. But what was Dahmer's problem, other than the fact he was possessed? I mean, what made a grown man do this? You could have gotten dates. And look at Epstein. Y'all heard about the beef jerky. Epstein was harvesting Colombian children and cooking them. He had a chef out there on the island who has a restaurant in New York called Cannibals. Did y'all see that in the Epstein report? Why were there no arrests made of any of these people? Why? Oh, I'd like to see that in that. If anybody knows about anything on YouTube, let me know. That sounds, it's disgusting. Jeffrey Epstein kept telling the woman, don't forget the muffins. Said Elon Musk actually wrote Epstein and said, let me know when the pizza party starts. Pizza party was code word with all the teen girls. I did a video showing Ghislaine, there's Prince Andrew, Prince Harry, I don't know which prince it is, with his arm around Virginia. Speaking of body language, Virginia doesn't look scared. There's no fear in that face. She's got a little provocative top on and she's loving this. They spoiled those girls something fierce down there, took them on junkets. They were coming out of the malls with Gucci bags and everything. And it's funny that only when they realize later there's big money to be gained now, oh, it's terrible. I went through all this stuff. She ended up committing suicide, and it had nothing to do with Epstein. It had to do with something going on in her family. I tell you what, there's also a lot of people that have been falsely accused of rape, sent to jail with no evidence, and some teenage girl and the mother got rich. Justice Jane, but they're saying that's all in the report that was released. And like Colette said in a message to me, you notice nobody's talking about Epstein now because now it's all on Iran. We know for a fact that the media and presidents have done something to shift the focus off something. Remember when Monica came out and started telling her story? Clinton said, I had no inappropriate relations with her. And within days, he decided randomly to bomb targets in Afghanistan. I realized right then, I said, yep, trying to take the attention off himself. I know exactly what he's doing. They do it all the time. Really, Noah? I didn't know that. Crystal, makes you wonder. Hey, Lisa, it makes you wonder. Hey, Ash, how about the victims of the Clintons? Now, that's weird. I have no arms. See, when I do that green screen, it does weird things. That's out of here. I don't like looking at him anyway. There was a Mark V production, a Christian media company that made a lot of cheesy videos of the rapture, and they were good back in the day. But they did a video on the Clintons and Vince Foster. And they presented a pretty good argument that Hillary had him killed. And I believe that. And not just him, but many. You ever hear the story about two teen boys playing in the woods in Arkansas? They came upon a cocaine drop. Their heads were bashed in. And they tried to say a train hit them. The injuries were not consistent with a train. Bill Clinton was snorting cocaine. Look at Biden. Biden's doing it right there in the White House. They find cocaine in the White House. Everybody knew who it was. Nothing happened. Hey, Allison, how are you? Lisa, I'm not familiar with that one. Lisa Marie Pilati, are you the one that has the channel with, I'm sorry, you're beautiful and you do all the workout? Is that you? She's got some outstanding videos and she's got a body of incredible physique, if that's the one I'm thinking of. And yes, I'm a man, I'm going to say it. She's good looking. Your body is fit. Yeah, thanks for coming to my channel. What do I owe thee the honor? See, I've had a belief, Lisa, and I've had to be challenged lately because, pattern recognition goes many, many lateral moves. What's a good-looking woman like Lisa doing on my channel? So I appreciate that. And there's a lot of good-looking women on my channel that listen, and I've had to learn. I've always been taught to believe good-looking women are too good for me. and I'm glad to see that I'm being proven wrong. The fact that there were no arrests other than Epstein with Epstein when the FBI supposedly knew all this stuff is telling. We forgot to talk about this. Pam Bondi got fired. Lisa, I agree with you, but our society puts a premium on looks. And I know you know that. I know you know that. But yes, Lisa, you have a stunning physique. You're breathtaking. I had an Asian girlfriend years ago who was a Pilates instructor, and she had it's not a machine, but it's a device. She called it the Cadillac, and she took me to the place where she and two other women taught Pilates and showed me all that stuff. It was interesting. Thank you, Ash. You have a good day at work and be careful with them chainsaws, brother. We had a surge in emergency room visits the day of Hurricane Helene, and it had nothing to do with the storm. Chainsaw accidents of all the men out there trying to remove trees, cutting their legs, arms, chain flying off and hitting them. You're standing on wet trees at an angle and you're holding a saw. Man, you got to watch what you're doing. Yes, Sam. Bondi, I thank you for that. But I've been taught by society. I've been taught that I'm not worthy of a good looking woman. I've dated good looking women, some in the US, mostly overseas. And I have a belief that a really fine looking woman is not going to have any interest in me because I'm not worthy of her. That's been pounded into me by the society at large. I'm kind of like Charlie Kirk. Prove me wrong. Thank you for that, Noah. I'm going to be honest. When I look at the faces of some of y'all women, I'm like, wow, these women are absolutely beautiful. When I had my channel, not this under this name, but years ago, they weren't here. Something has changed. Years ago, when I was on YouTube, the women were not on the channel. Now I notice something. There's been a shift. It's 2026. Even beautiful women, even people that make more than me are finally realizing there's no community out there. They get around people and they realize people have lost their minds and believe a lot of hoo-ha. This channel's become a touchstone that I wasn't ready then, but God has made it for such a time as this that people are gravitating around real, genuine truth. And me putting myself and my flaws out there because you know what? So many people are afraid to do that. Yes. Do women feel, no, all right, Tans, Lisa, all you women, answer this. Have you ever felt unworthy as a woman? I'm not talking of a job or whatever. Have you ever? But it's off now. Yes. Remember when they had that Buns of Steel workout? Everybody's saying yes. So when I have met girls and I think, wow, they won't even speak to me and they're good looking. We got one in the office where I work, and today's Wednesday, so the company provides a lunch, and you can go or you can not go. You clock out for your lunch hour. I go. Most of the time, I can't eat it. They had a ham and black-eyed peas and broccoli casserole. By the way, broccoli casserole in the South, oh, numb. That's so good with the rice and stuff, cheese. We'll get a preacher, a different one. And I like the message. It's a pick me up. Because you know what? It's kind of nice to go to a job where, wow, they got a preacher at lunch hour 15 minutes. And I usually come out of there going, wow, I needed to hear that. Even me, I'm not the expert. I need to be fed by God so that I, in turn, can be something to you. Hello, Miranda Lee. Shy, Ash. So there's a pretty dark-skinned woman in there. She sits with her back to the entire room and she's on her phone. But I've watched her when she's listening to the pastor. That right there is a dead giveaway. Women fooling with their hands. And the woman that hit on me in church last Sunday was doing the same thing all through Sunday school. What seems like they're being arrogant. This, Lisa, am I correct? Ladies, am I correct? This is a telltale sign of esteem issues. Am I correct? Absolutely, Crystal. Because it's not forced. It's not mandatory. No one is demanded to come. Yes, fidgeting with the hands. When I'm nervous, I sweat. When I'm nervous, I feel anxiety. And this woman wanted to sit next to me, and I felt anxiety. She's pretty. I haven't sat next to a good-looking woman in years out here. And I'm sitting there, and I'm feeling agitated in my spirit. I'm like, Michael, that right there is a red flag. You do not have to measure up to her. And that's what's happened in this society. I'm good looking. You better measure up. No, honey, you're not God. So I have to continue to work on me. Some of you have everything going for you, in my eyes. But how many of you can be honest? Any of you, do you believe you have not just your physique, but do you have inner things you know you need to work on? I'm not talking about your to-do list. I'm talking about personality and insecurities. Anybody? Self-soothing and self-regulation. When I went down and stayed with a friend, he had 2 daughters. One was 9. She took to me right away. I had to shuttle them to their soccer games. She'd sit there and watch SpongeBob and Teen Titans. She'd sit on the couch. She'd twirl her hair and suck on her 3 fingers. I said, why do you do that? I said, you're 9 years old. She goes, it's my comfort. I was there for 3 months, and I noticed Dad would always scream at her. This was my friend in Duluth who was single years ago. He favored the one daughter. He was very hard on her. And she dropped a bomb on me one day. So you bought a house, you're leaving. I said, yeah. She goes, can I live with you? I said, you got your mom and dad, and if you lived in my house, you're not going to have cable, and you're not going to sit around watching SpongeBob, so you'd be really bored. But I want to live with you. You don't yell at me. I said, I know. But your dad does love you. She was doing all this stuff. And I felt sad. I thought, wow, there's damage here. And I should have sat down and said, have you watched what your daughter's doing? You might want to, he was a hothead. When I was there, he'd be in his office. He threw his keyboard yelling. And I'd go to leave to walk to the park. I'm sorry, I'm mad. He said, I have to do these expense reports, and I effing hate these expense reports. He had to submit the expense report so he could get reimbursed for the hotel room and stuff. And I thought, well, what's so hard about that? He made $125,000 a year. and he was angry, screamed and called his wife a C-U-N-T, the B word, everything. I was downstairs the first week I got out there, and I was like, so help me God, if he hits her, I'm calling the police. Next morning, he said, Mike, how'd you sleep? I said, I slept okay. I said, how about you? Oh, Mike, I didn't do well last night. I said, I know, I heard. Did you really hear me? I said, how could I not? I'm sure the neighbors heard that. I said, you didn't hit Jane, did you? No, I'd never do that. I said, because I had my one hand on my phone, brother. I don't want to see that again. I tell you what, he would criticize my old truck. Still look good. His daughter said, I like Mike's truck. It's cool. Said, you better be careful. Your daughter's going to move out in the country, buy horses, and have an old classic pickup truck. No! Yeah, you want her to have a Tesla. You want her to be like you. Why don't you let your daughter be who she needs to be? I told him that. And he looked at me. Now, I'm sorry, I need to say his wife had lesbian short hair. She was into cycling. She looked like a female cyclist. I'm just making pattern recognition. They don't typically dial in as sexy and pretty. She wore all the spandex that Lance Armstrong wear. And he had the gall to tell me my wife would have never dated me if I'd have pulled up in an old. I said, my truck doesn't look bad at all. It's a square body and it's beautiful. Every woman I have dated complimented that truck. He lived in a gated upper end community, did not get along with any of his neighbors. They were really stuck up in that neighborhood. She'd go, Mike, can I roller skate? I said, let's go. I'd walk and she'd be flying down the sidewalk on her skates. One woman at the end of the block talked to me. Hey, very nice lady. She was the only down-to-earth person in the neighborhood. She goes, you here visiting? I said, yeah, this is a friend of mine. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. I should have stayed 2 weeks and left. He encouraged me to stay. He even wanted me to buy a house down there. And I said, no, I don't like Florida. Florida didn't do anything for me. I'm just a bozo on the bus. Yeah, Lisa. And it had a slight power steering leak. And he said, Mike, you got to put a piece of cardboard. The homeowners will find me if there's an oil spot on my driveway. And he complained. Behind his house, there was a shallow depression. And then just on the other side of a barbed wire fence were these stately oaks, somebody else's property. We're talking southern oaks with all the Spanish moss and limbs this big around. I was in awe. I went out and took pictures. I said, these trees have been around since the Civil War. Beautiful oaks. I said, remember when you were in Duluth? I can't wait to go to Florida, Nels. I hate Duluth. Duluth is dull. I hate it. He was saying the same thing about Florida. I hate Florida. He said it rains, it fills up with water. He said, Mike, there could be alligators in there. I complained to the homeowners association. They won't let me bring in dirt. I said, but you bought the house. His house was a new home. Everything was tiled. It sounded like the inside of a drum. You could hear everybody in the house, in any room they were in. It was not quiet. It was not soundproof. Oh my gosh. You paid $350,000 for this? People don't like my house. It's simple. And I love it because it's got more character and charm. It has a warmth to it. I don't want a new house. If I did, I'd gut it. And I'd put all this back into it. It'd be the oldest new house on the block. He said, my wife would have never dated me if I'd have pulled up in your truck. Ooh, I came that close saying I would have dated your wife. She looks butch, but I'm not going to say that. One thing I know, you don't criticize a man's woman. I was polite to her. She was nice to me. I'm not gonna do that. Thank you, Miss Jane. I appreciate that. This is my humble abode, but it's hand done and from the heart. And we parted ways when I left. His daughter actually reached out to me months later. I was actually sitting on the bus at an afternoon high school waiting for the kids to come out. My phone rang and I said, "Hey, Mike, if my mom and dad let me come up and visit you, can I?" I said, "You'll have to get it approved by them." But I said, "I wouldn't be able to see you till spring break because you can't come and stay and me be at work. You're a young lady and you're not going to be alone in my house all day in this neighborhood." And we had a talk and she said, "I miss you." And I told her, I said, "I miss you too." I said, "You actually got me into Teen Titans and I don't get to see it anymore." I remember, stupid show, sitting there, and one of the kids walks up in that stupid song, "Thus Spake Zoroaster," that classical piece. This kid walks up, dun, dun, and all you see is the back, butt in his legs and his back. Dun, dun, dun. I lost it. I said, "Oh my gosh, that's funny." She about fell off the couch. I said, "That's so stupid, but it's funny." So every day she'd come up to me, "Mike, stop, just stop." Oh my gosh. Some of that kid stuff gets you. So Martin Luther King, Dad's gone. I said, I woke up in the morning. I said, "Hey, I'm fixing you breakfast and we're not watching SpongeBob." "Man," I said, "Nope, we're going somewhere." "Where?" I said, "Surprise." Got in the truck and I said, "We're going to the skating rink." "Really?" I said, "Yeah, we're not doing this." Took her roller skating. That was a blast. And then she wanted to play all those stupid games. We got to spend $10,000 to win 1,000 tickets to win some stupid little toy. I said, "No, you can play some games. I ain't rich. We ain't doing all that." I don't want kids, man. They're expensive. Hi, Angel baby. How are you? Kids are expensive. You take them somewhere and then they want to spend more and more and more. It's like, oh my gosh, this place is a money pit. I said, I took you skating. It's like the carnival games. You remember the high school boys? They got the girl with a little half shirt on their arm and everybody's going, "Oh, he got her." And then she's carrying the big giant stuffed dog that he spent $9 million in the basketball toss to win. So, man, you could have bought a stuffed animal at the store cheaper than what you paid to do that. People get caught up in that. Kids are fun. I'm all right, Angel. It's hump day. Hump day. Hey, I tuned in. It came on the feed. Ice Cream Man. He's got a microphone. He's not doing the toilet seat on his head, and he actually sounded intelligent today. He's retooling himself. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Euripides, I'm good. How are you? That's awesome, Blondie. I would not consider myself an architect. I had women in transportation that came into my house, said, "Mike, I would hire you. I need a wall moved, this and that." I said, "Well, problem is if you hire me, we get into code. You got electrical outlets in the wall. That's a problem. Because I'm not an electrician. I'm not playing with that. You got a wall with no electrical and it's not load bearing, I can legally take it out." But if it's load bearing, then you got to put in a beam and you got to get permits. And I'm not doing all that. What I did to my house, I needed no permits for because I didn't alter structure. I didn't take out any load bearing anything. I put in walls, thus giving more reinforcement. He has way more followers than me. And they were donating money even then. Even when he had the toilet seat with the frosting in the school bus, the guy's funny. I mean, at first I'm like, this guy's nuts. But then I'm like, okay, this is twisted, but he does make me laugh. He's blossoming and he's transforming. He may be an incredible articulate speaker one day. Euripides, I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of stuff going around. Local Dasman? Shoot. This is Augusta, corrupt mayors, lame city council, constantly cops getting in trouble. They just recently had a police officer fooling around with, was it the captain? Captain's wife. Oh my gosh. Stupid. Thank you, Miranda. This was a $4 flea market special, and it didn't have the fleas. Thank you, Tans. Thank you, Miranda. I'm glad to see you all. Oh, wow, Noah, that sucks. I'm going to joke. Go get a Hearts 3-in-1 collar. They'll leave you alone. You could be there in Netherlands. What are you wearing? It's a flea collar. European, we had Governor Kemp was decent, more centered. When I worked in transportation, he gave the school system a lot of perks. $1,000 in December. They just gave them $2,000 this year. $2,000, the governor, because they had a surplus. You know, it's sad. The school district is a cash cow, and they're lying to our children. So wrong. That's right, Towns. They are. Fleas suck. We have them here. And people say, you should get a dog. No. You got a dog, you got fleas in the house. You got to pay $250 for a trifecta. Heartworm, all that. You got it. Heartworm is big out here. I mean, it's too expensive to have a dog in Georgia. Yes, Miss Jane, it's getting thick and I love it. The other day, I was doing the 80s. Look at this. I love it. It's so funny. Tans, I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be awesome. The 80s, man. People make fun of the 80s, but I liked it. The music was awesome. I was just gonna say, who do I look like? And that's it. Yeah, that one Bowie look. My little China girl, just you shut your mouth. Did you all see the shirt my friend in Cleveland sent me? I haven't worn it yet. It's oversized, but I love it. Where is it? Gotta pull it out of here. Everybody, where is it? There we go. Look at this. Isn't that awesome or what? Wang Chung. Look at that. That's pretty cool, man. That's the way, I like it, Make a little love, do a little dance, to get down tonight. You have a flock of seagulls tattoo, really? That'd be cool. Hi, Keith. The 80s were awesome. Shoot, Blondie, remember Blondie? It was like glass. You'll find out it's a heart of glass. Yeah, I was in the closet. Not that way. I lived it. High school, the dances were the best. The cutest shy girls would come up to me, the ones that were quiet, that all the guys weren't chasing. Mike, can I dance with you? Oh, yeah. Some petite, small, shy girl put her arms around me and we're slow dancing. Hello? Is it me you're looking for? Oh, I'd get so nervous. But at least I could slow dance. All you do is just hug each other and go around in a circle. I could do that without stumbling. Oh my gosh, you could buy a pickup truck for under $2,000. You could buy a car. I had a 74 AMC Matador in 84, 10-year-old car. No dents, no scratches, copper and a white roof. 4-door, 2 long bench seats, plaid. The car was so mint. My dad got it for $700. $700 doesn't even buy you 4 tires today. It's crazy. Yeah. Who thought that the General Lee was worth 60, 70, 80 grand? Do you know how many of those cars they wrecked in a show? Do you know that there's a place in Georgia that has all those wrecked cars? Just a good old boys, never meaning no harm, not realizing the day would come. All these cars you wrecked are worth big money. I remember the Super Bee. I remember the GTO put a tiger in your tank too. The Chevy Chevelle, the Dodge Barracuda, the Chevelle was a hot car. I do like the Chevelle, the SS Novas. Even the Nova wagon was, if I could go back with that deep, deep red and tinted windows and the chrome rims, I would take a Nova wagon. That thing was bad to the bone looking. Did not look like the Brady Bunch. Waylon Jennings, yes. Euripides, I'm sorry to hear that. Barracuda! I remember the old ladies used to drive Dodge Swingers. You remember the Swinger? They had the slant 6 in it. Old ladies had the Dodge Dart and the doggone Swingers. Look at the old lady driving a Dodge Swinger. You can barely see over the dash. Remember, they had them wooden beaded seat things they put on the seat? And they drove that car so cautiously. Today, people tear around like a bunch of banshees. There was a lady next door to me that had a Swinger, and she backed that thing. That thing didn't have a scratch on it. People tear up their stuff today. Tear it up. The Monte Carlo SS, oh yeah. Good looking car. Mopar or no car, I remember that. Ash for Cash, born in 83, 2 years before I graduated. No, I never saw that. Ida, where's Ida? I didn't even see her sneak in. Where's Ida? Ida in here. The Chargers. Had a buddy who had, it was either 69 or 70. He had the 440 in it. I got to ride in it one day. It was a nice car. And you could pick up a muscle car for cheap back then. You can't even find a rust bucket with no engine for cheap now of any of that. Do you still have it, Miranda Lee? Euripides, we need to pray for you. Hi, Ida. Lord, we pray for Euripides. Don't know what's going on, but we pray for healing. Euripides not happy with the treatment. Just pray you put your hand on the situation and bring healing in Jesus' name. Amen. I don't like Dodge now. I remember when the new Dodge came out. Everybody was all up in that. I'm tired of it. They do have the Charger Hellcat. Last night I went to bed and that butthead, the cops have been on him. And it's been quiet. But last night around 8:39, he's got a scat pack. Can somebody explain that to me? Is that bolt-on? They make an ungodly amount of ear-splitting noise, and I do not like it. I want to leave a note on his car and say, have you bothered to pay attention that nobody's doing this? Stop annoying everybody because we're sick of it. But the cops are keeping an eye on him. Look at an SUV. You want to talk about an ugly. A mechanic at Denver schools named Clay, a big meat and potatoes guy, said, yeah, the problem with the SUVs and the car design today is they put some nerd in the design department that can't design anything. They destroyed the pickup truck. Hey, have you seen the new Silverados? They complained about 72 Dodges being boxy. Silverado's got a grill this high, all plastic, with those weird... They're ugly. They're ugly. These gay little indent plastic steps on the bumper and the side of the bed. Really? Give me that old steel pickup. Give me that old 8-foot box. If you can't get up in the bed of your truck, you shouldn't be driving it. I'm so done with wussy mobiles, SUVs that look like high top shoes. The new Ford Explorer, that the side windows are that tall, and you wonder why they're hitting everything, because you can't see out of it. That's why. They have to have a backup camera. You can't see in your side mirrors or out the back of that thing. I have better visibility in a school bus on my mirrors than any SUV, anywhere, anytime. I can put a school bus in reverse, look at my student mirror, my two side mirrors, and slam that thing and go. And you see these SUVs back out of their driveway. They're not even looking with the camera, slam into the trash can. Stupid. I was dating a black woman in Denver. Mine was a 95 F-150, the square body. And it had running boards, but I took them off because the pipes rusted due to all the salt from Minnesota where I bought it. I had to help Pamela in the truck, and she wasn't incompetent or anything. She'd always say, just throw me in the truck. I said, that's so cute. I don't throw you in the truck. You lived in Canada too, Noah. Noah's going to start singing the old Beach Boys song. I get around, I get around. They are Miranda Lee. They won't make it 20 years. And these idiots pushing for electric vehicles. I don't know about you. I don't like the Tesla. I'm not impressed. Man, I remember when they had the Chevy Loves, the Ford Couriers, the old Ford Rangers, the old single wall steel construction pickups. Heck, I remember the Datsun pickup trucks, single wall steel bed with a 5-speed. Man, I wish I could go back and buy one of those. You could spit in the tank and go across the country. Those things were great. Economical little teeny truck. You couldn't haul jack in them, but they were fun to drive. And they were tough. They did not handle the salt. 1 year in the salt, they looked like Swiss cheese, and the bed's wiggling and banging over every pothole. Now the Ford Pinto. Pinto beans. I got in my 99 F-150 one night downtown, and my knee hit the dash, and it broke a chunk of plastic. I said, this is garbage. I had a 72 Dodge. I had a 62 Chevy, steel dash, steel glove box, steel door panels. But Mike, it wasn't. So what? It's a truck. I'm sorry. I don't need to get into a truck where the door goes clop and you're in there and you don't hear anything. It's a truck. I don't need it looking like an executive office. Why do you put leather seats and leather floors and a leather dash in a truck? Oh my gosh, I remember rubber floor mats. You could wipe and clean them off easy. Trucks are made for powder puff boys. I love it. They got their arm draped over their entire plastic world, driving around thinking they're tough. That's why when I had my M35, I loved it. There's no plastic on that truck except the coating over the wires. Me driving the M35A2 next to a modern day Silverado with a lift kit, and I'm looking at it going, really? Just the truck, my truck at an idle. The engine in my truck is heavier than the Silverado. It just blows me away, the ego of people. And I had people in the neighborhood. I activated all the testosterone when I had that truck. Bumpers, up to here. Man, I thought I had the best looking truck. I'm jealous. I mean, you're not going to beat anybody from the stop sign in a deuce. You don't need to. But if you turn in front of me and I can't stop, Be a nice little modest speed bump. Thump. I mean, if you're going to compete, why don't you get a real truck? Oh, I think a Silverado 4-door fully loaded is 80. That's stupid. That's a house. That's a house payment. You don't see any Silverados used the way pickups were when I was a kid. You don't see it. Yeah, Noah. I remember seeing something like that. Oh, yeah, when you hit the front end of a new car, the whole front end comes off. The bumper. And with these uni-mold bodies, you crumple the back end. They have to remove the entire back end of the car for a fender dimple. But Mike, they made them that way. It protects the driver. It's called crumple zones. Yeah, well, a potato chip bag crumples too. It's what they look like after a crash. They do not give you an 8-foot bed anymore. Now they got the tailgate with the little tailgate at the top. I'm like, that is so gay. Side pockets on truck. Really? It's like a shoe hanger on the back of your door in the closet. Do you know that tires now on school buses have an expiration date? Everything's now coming with expiration dates. When I was working at transportation, I said to the foreman, I said, you got those dead zone buses. You just put new tires on that bus. Beefy tread. Oh, we're not going to remove them. I said, why don't you take the crappy tires off these buses and trade them out? Well, tires have an expiration date. Yeah, they're not even a year old. That's okay. The state pays for it. Notice that mentality? When the government's involved, nobody cares to be fiscally conservative. I'd be like, excuse me, all them new tires, take them off them buses, get these bald tires off the route buses, put them on those because those are going to auction or the scrapyard anyway. Stop wasting all this money. Get me in the government, forget Doge. I see waste, it'll be done. You buy an office chair in the Pentagon and they charge $50 for the little foot. No. Tell them boys in the Pentagon, you can go to IKEA. We'll give you a furniture allowance. IKEA, Mike? Yeah, why the taxpayers got to pay exorbitant prices for your furniture? Man, when the Gremlin came out, the Gremlin, Hornet, and Pacer were the ugliest creation. Funny thing is, the front end of the Gremlin looks better than any of the cars on the road today. I mean, the Charger and the Camaro look pretty good, but they are not the same. They are not the same as the originals. When I was in high school, if you were a guy and you had a Pontiac Firebird T-tops, you got the dates. You got the dates. What was Kit Car in Knight Rider? What was that? Was that the Firebird or the Camaro? Or the Trans Am? Oh, the Bonneville was a big, comfortable car. Yes, Tans. Pontiac grabs him. Hello, Paula. Hello, silly. I agree, Don. Guess what happens here in Georgia? I don't have a voice. We don't have city council. They're called commissioners. And guess what happens when I call the commissioner about a neighborhood issue? Nothing, because I'm white. I said that. Things only move around here based on the color of your skin. It is sick. Augusta is extremely racially motivated, favoring one race over the other in politics and whether things get done. It's crazy. Oh, the Corvair. Ralph Nader really fussed about that. Unsafe at any speed. Are you, Paula? Where are you? I'm in Disgusta. This is Masters Week. This is the apex of Augusta. The only thing going for Augusta. People paying millions of dollars a day at the Masters golf course gift store. Yeah, Ralph Nader was off. Did you know in every town I've lived in, I've seen a Corvair in good shape in the driveway? For as bad as everybody criticizes, that is one car I still see surviving. You don't see them driving around, but you see it. Not with flat tires, not with rust. But some of the people kept them and keep them running. The AMC, AMX, and the Javelin are pretty cool. Engines. The 318 by Dodge, tough little engine. The 302 by Ford, the 350 by Chevy. And believe it or not, the straight 6 by Chevy, the granny gear in a Chevy pickup could go up Everest. The gearing was so low, it was unstoppable. The slant 6s were used in racing. People that went to the track. Oh gosh, I remember Freedom fries. So crazy. Guys, pull up the list of ingredients for McDonald's fries. It'll shock you. Let me know if you find potatoes in the ingredients. Remember the Dodge Coronet? That wasn't a great car. We had a store in Prescott called Coronet. It's like a 5 and dime store. It went out of business. They're gross. The best fries are the homemade ones. Are they really, Daz? Oh, I gotta go, folks. Unfortunately, I have to pay my debt to the government and go to work. I have to fund all the politicians' BS by my taxes, so I trudge off to work to make my bosses and owners richer while the cost of living continues to go up. And they say to us, we're paying fair and competitive wages. Really? I looked up Starbucks and Kellogg's, and they make quite a bit more than we do, starting. Competitive? Thank you, Noah. You guys have a good day. Thank you, Don. We try to keep it real. Ladies, men, be safe. Till next time, peace out. Welcome to America, Mike. Yeah, Crystal. No offense, I voted for Trump, but we're not making America great. It's an illusion. We need to trust in God, put our faith and hope in God, and we need to pray that God blows that trumpet and calls us out of here, because really, that's the hope. That's the hope. We need to never forget that. See you, Chris. Everybody, Gary, have a good one. Till next time, be safe.